Well, it's week 2 of the LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Jenkins, the newly minted top laner for Team Liquid, following an exhausting game against Evil Geniuses. Exhausting for me to watch. I assume just you must be feeling a lot after that match. So first off, what was that match like for you?
It was pretty tense because it felt like we were on like the verge of winning, but I mean yeah, we didn't end up pulling through. It was just like the last base defense where we almost aced them, and then we finally got into their base and things were looking pretty good, and yeah, I mean, we just made mistakes and we lost. But
Right. What do you think were the issues that you guys had in that match? Because it did like I mean, I think they had one Nexus turret up at the end of it. You guys had been pushing in. So was it just in those final moments, or do you think that maybe even by the time the Elder had expired, you guys were just out of it? I mean, where do you think the missteps were?
there were like fights leading up to the Dragon Soul, like multiple fights that we made mistakes as like a team. And yeah, for me, in the last part of the game, I just like misread how long we would have on the Elder, and possibly could have pushed bottom earlier so we can have a longer time with the Elder, probably the end. But yeah, I'm not sure as a team, but for me, it was just a misread on what we should be doing as a team.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know that this just happened moments ago, and you've just had to sit down. I apologize for doing this, but I have to ask if you can just like separate yourself from the game so that I can learn a little bit about you. Because this is our first interview. I know there's a lot of perhaps viewers that want to learn more. So, what is kind of your back history, Jenkins? Because I think a lot of people, they saw you suddenly pop up on the LCS roster. Maybe they're not familiar with how long you've been playing League and how you ended up on the Team Liquid Academy team even.
So I first started playing the game like for fun, uh, and eventually I got a chance to go to scouting grounds because I was pretty high on the ladder at the time.
What year was
And
this? Sorry.
this was the inaugural year of the scouting grounds. I don't remember which year it was, but I
Maybe
want to say
2017? Because I feel
probably
like, yeah, I
2017.
think that
Yeah,
was
I made it to the first one.
yeah. Maybe even
Uh,
2016, come to think of it, but sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and then after that, it seemed pretty exciting, so I started to take it a bit more seriously. I ended up getting on a team for Golden Gardens Academy. Didn't do so well there, and took the time off after to grind.
When was
And
this again? Sorry, I'm trying to kind of piece together your
yeah,
story.
so it was the year after the first scouting grounds that I got onto Golden Gardens Academy. So it was
Okay,
when Golden Gardens was first inducted into the LCS, I believe.
sure.
So that should be 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
And then after the spring split, I took the time to grind and made the third scouting grounds and did okay there. And that's where I got my shot at Team Liquid Academy. And I've been with them since then.
Gotcha.
I went to the China boot camp with them, or the China boot camp Worlds, and then after that, I did a Korea boot camp with Tactical and Armail, and was doing pretty well in the Korean ladder over there.
So
And
it's
yeah, now I'm here.
so I mean this I mean it's been several years that you've been trying to make it into the LCS. Now all of a sudden you're thrown in. We don't need to get into the details behind all the drama because I'm sure it's not your place to speak on it. But uh, what I'm guessing not the way you expected to suddenly game 2 of the summer split be tossed in. So what has this experience been like for you as you've been suddenly on stage at the LCS?
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. It's been a while since I've been at the studio, so it's nice to be back. The team has been very supportive of me playing on the team. Everyone's very nice to each other. Uh, they just always tell me to play my own game, and they'll like best like accommodate that, which I appreciate. Um, and yeah, just excited to get a chance at LCS.
Do you feel like there's a pretty big difference between the Academy games and the LCS games?
Yeah, pretty big difference. There's like a lot of mistakes that like I would make in academy that normally doesn't get punished by LCS, or that normally doesn't. Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of mistakes that I make that I get punished for in academy, or don't get punished for in academy
Yes, that
that I
you
get
do in
punished for in
LCS.
LCS.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. When is it intimidating at all? Like you face off against Impact, right? Who was on Team Liquid previously? Is it crazy when you like end up laning against him, or any of these other players that you're facing off against, or are you able to kind of like mentally clear your head before you end up in these games?
At this point, not so crazy because I did a lot of in-houses with Core, and Core always got like LCS openers like Finn and Impact to play. So at this point, I'm just kind of used to playing against them, and I got practice a lot against Alphari too in the previous weeks.
Gotcha. All right. How do you think you stack up against some of these other top laners?
I think I can hold my ground. This this game I was playing pretty well, absorbed a few ganks, and then I just needed to call for like my own time to play with my teammates. But I ended up not calling for it, and that's when I ended up dying in lane. But if I asked, I'm sure the team would have helped, and the game would have been a lot better.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I don't know. Like, are there players that are in this league right now that you look up to a lot in your role and that you feel like you need to achieve? I'll give you a reason why I asked this question. At the start of the year, Fudge showed up and was basically like, "Yeah, NA top laners are trash. I'm gonna crush it." So I don't know if you feel the same way. If you're like, "Oh yeah, these guys are all noobs and I can take any of them on any given day," or if you're like, "Oh man, there's like 3 or 4 of these folks that I really need to learn from or get on their level or something."
Um, Not necessarily because the person I looked up to was like Alphari, so I always like practice with him a lot, so I wasn't really concerned too much about other tops. Um, it's hard for me to like rank them all, but I
Yeah, I
think
don't need
I
to
would
rank.
stack up fine against them.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, what what has it been like? Have you been looking at any of the like the Twitter conversations or the Team Liquid Reddit or any of the social media stuff, or do you just like stay away from all that after
I
these
haven't
games?
looked at social media at all
Do you
because
normally?
I used to, but then I just had like a few teammates before that when they were in LCS, the social media was very bad on their mental health, so I opted to like just nip it in the bud and just not look at it at all.
Yeah. Was it? Did you do that consciously before your first game in the LCS? Like, were you like, I'm uninstalling Twitter and Reddit and all these things, or was it something where
I
you
did
were
it.
just like avoiding it beforehand?
I did it the night like after. I didn't look. I threw up the tweet because that's just like what you do if you ever like get this opportunity, right?
Right.
And after that, I just never looked at it again.
Yeah.
And then eventually I uninstalled it.
You uninstalled it. Okay.
Yeah.
Very smart. Clearly, some
Yeah.
people have been giving you some good coaching because that's always been something I've heard, especially in the beginning when you're joining. Like, get that stuff out of your way so you don't have to worry about it. But I'll give you a little hint. The Team Liquid subreddit I think has been very supportive of you. So it's hopefully that helps you a bit. Now, are there any interesting stories for that you can tell about how the players on the team have treated you since you've joined, or any support, or like I don't know if Jensen's taken you out for like ice cream after a game and been like, "Good job, buddy," or anything like that.
Well, not necessarily. It's just like I've already been like hanging out with like Core and like Edward on like whenever we played in houses together. So
Yeah.
I'm already like well acquainted with them. Jensen I sat next to during most of the world's boot camp anyway. So from there we already had like a sort of relationship. And then Lucas has been very uh supportive, or like very he always asks if I like need anything, or like if he can do something for me.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
That's nice. I mean, it stacks up with what I've heard about Centauran and my personal experiences with him, where he's just a really nice guy. So it sounds. I mean, the great thing is, it sounds like you already had like a pretty good relationship with most of the members on this team previously. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. All right. Well, is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there? I know you're not doing social media, but here's like an interview where you can just say something, and then you don't ever have to read the comments when they reply.
Sure. Just yeah, thanks for supporting me so far in this very strange situation. I mean, yeah, that's all I got. I'm just like thankful that I get the opportunity to play at all in LCS.
Yeah. No, I mean it's very reasonable. Hey, thank you so much again for the interview. I really appreciate it. Great meeting you and great learning to getting to learn about you. today. Sorry about the loss, but a very intense game. So at least it was entertaining for folks to watch. Thanks again. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, it's so good to be back in these games, watching them, enjoying them, interviewing people after them. It's fantastic. Speaking of good in games, Alienware, in partnership with Team Liquid, has now officially launched Good in Gaming, which is an initiative in order to provide opportunities and programs to people who seek to grow, learn, network, and compete in the esports industry. They've got all sorts of cool stuff like tournaments, mentorships, scholarships, all this kind of stuff. It's really cool to see what they're doing. You can head on over to alienware.com/goodingaming. I'd recommend you do it because it's just neat to see this program that they've been able to build out to support the next generation of esports industry folks. Because let's be clear, I'm getting kind of tired. I don't know how much longer I can do this. It's a pain in the butt. You guys don't subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. But if you do want to subscribe, that would be cool. Either way, I'm so happy to be back making this content. And shout out to Alienware for Good in Gaming. Awesome to see.